What's up, everybody? I got another video for you guys today, and you're probably wondering, what's up with this weird camera angle you got? You've never done that before? Well, today I decided we would go ahead and try to verse the two desktops against each other. I know it's not apples to apples and it's not really fair. I mean, you got a 4090 versus the 7900 XTX, but it's AMD's best versus Nvidia's best, and I figured it would be fun to just see which one's smoother as well, since one has that 3D V cache. Maybe that helps get better lows, even though the other one has a better GPU. Who's to say? Somebody actually asked me recently, which one of your computers is smoother? And to me, they both feel pretty damn smooth. So, since I couldn't answer that just, right up, straight up, I figured why don't we verse them against each other and see which one is better. So I picked a couple games out that all have benchmarks that we can check out, and then you'll be able to see the 1% lows and all that stuff too. And then we'll also just, run around in those games a little bit too, just to show you what it's like in each of them. But we're not gonna be doing anything that gives one a huge advantage over the other. Like, we all know Nvidia is better with ray tracing. So if I was gonna go in and just play Alan Wake 2 and Crisis does have ray tracing, but I'm thinking of Cyberpunk, where they just have the path tracing and all that. This one, the AMD system would get like probably 15, 20 FPS, while the other one will get 30 to 50, 60 FPS. And then you'd still need DLSS and frame gen to get, what I would consider good playable FPS, where I don't think there'd really be anything you can do on the AMD system. So we all know freaking Nvidia equals win with ray tracing. So we're just gonna do this raster versus raster. And I am playing Cyberpunk at the very end, but we're not going to be doing any ray tracing or path tracing. So we're basically just going to go in, do a benchmark. I picked games that all have benchmarks so we can actually see scientifically which one's getting, better 1% lows and all that stuff. And then we'll just play the game with a little frame rate counter up, and then you guys can say, hey, the other one may be better, but it's not really so much better that it's worth all that extra money, just as an example. But one other thing before we start is, I've noticed since one is also 3440 by 1440, the AMD system, versus 4K on my main computer, I've noticed that most games run pretty similarly FPS-wise, since the one is working way harder for a higher resolution. Obviously, if they were both at ultra-wide, the 4090 would just steamroll it in almost every game. But I feel like we're gonna not be that far off, since we're doing different resolutions too. So this is not an apples to apples. This is not scientific in any way other than running benchmarks to get numbers. That's about as scientific as we're getting. So this is not we're taking the 4090 and putting it into the AMD system and seeing it. No, not doing that. Don't wanna move my components around. And the last thing I wanna do is take that glass off of that desk PC. A lot of people have problems with that, not wanting to go back to being clear ever again. So once I got that system working, I was like, nope, we're leaving it alone until I really have to dust it. And luckily it's got a badass dust filter, so it still looks clean as could be in there. But anyway, that's enough for the intro. I know it's probably pretty long, but I had to explain what was going on. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's go hop into a game. I think we'll start on the AMD computer, pick the first game, run the benchmark, get ourselves some gameplay, and repeat. So let's get into it. All right, well, I wanted to do this all like professional and nice and do everything screen recorded, but this game doesn't want to let me screen record, and I hopped out and made sure it wasn't just the driver or something not letting me screen record, but nope, I could screen record the desktop and everything, so just this game doesn't want to let me do it, and that's probably because it's Vulkan. I do remember having issues screen recording on like everything with Vulkan. And Red Dead Redemption, I think there was one other really popular Vulkan game I was trying to get stuff from, and it wouldn't work. But in any case, so we're gonna do camera recorded for this particular game. And I'm just gonna do that on the main computer too, just to keep it, apples to apples. I feel like if I bounce between screen recorded and camera for one and the other, that's just gonna be weird. So if I'm gonna, after this game, I'll keep trying to, make it work. But if it's not, we'll just do the whole video with the camera. But anyway, so on this computer, we're gonna play at our native resolution. We're not gonna use any upscalers or anything like that. No VSync either. We've got the field of view maxed out. And then we just max the game out. So we'll just see how it does. And then render scaling again is 100%. So now that we got that little tidbit out of the way, I'm gonna go run the benchmark real quick, and then we'll be back when it's done. All right, guys, the benchmark's all finished. So we averaged 161. Our minimum was 141, and our max is 184. And you got your VRAM load and all that, your system info down there. And you can kind of get the little bar graphs of what it was doing for your milliseconds of frame time here for your GPU and CPU, and even for frames. But it seemed butter smooth while I was watching the benchmark. Might be just FreeSync working its magic, but who knows? So why don't we go ahead and go hop into a game and play a little too. All right, here we are in game here. Let's see. Guess I'll have to go with one knee on the ground and be all uncomfortable here, but we're gonna get you guys the FPSs. Oh, I knew there was a little hole somewhere around here. Nope, can't go that way.
Insertion in 10 seconds. 5 seconds before insertion. You've located a bomb. Make your way to its location and defuse it.
Hey,
Op 4 eliminated.
we won.
Friendly mission successful.
Come on, Tyler. Oh, nope, run away. Left the game.
Your drone has found a bomb. Seconds to insertion. Insertion in 5 seconds. Proceed to bomb's location and defuse it.
Huh. He's just like, F this, I'm going right in.
Must recover the diffuser. Op 4 neutralized. Mission successful.
All right, round 3. Match point. So, here's the settings we're going to go with. For the main computer here, we're going to do 4K, because that's native resolution here. We got no frame limiters, we've got the same field of view. Got low latency on, but that shouldn't affect much. And if there was an option for that on the AMD computer, I would have turned that on too. Which there is, at the driver level. But, there we go. Other than that one setting though, we've got everything else exactly the same. So, let's quickly go run a benchmark, see how it does, and then we'll hop on into a game and see how it does in the game too. So let's get to it, shall we? Alright, well, I saw these frames and I was like, holy shit, this 4090 absolutely shits on the 7900 XTX in this game. But then, once I got into a game and hit this, I was like, oh, yeah, that's not right. That's never that big. It's like, probably like maybe that big on my screen when you're actually at 4K. So, I think what it's doing is it's stuck at 1080p, making this not apples to apples at all. Already it wasn't, but now this is even stupider because it's locking my 4090 at 1080p and won't let me change it. I've even gone into my documents like the internet suggested and told it to do 4K, which it already was, but I deleted it and then put it back as 4K, saved, and then went back in, but no, it still seems to be locked at 1080p. So I'll go get a little gameplay on this, but it's kind of pointless and stupid. I knew this one was going to win by a little, but do not pay attention to these results. This was just absolutely dumb. In fact, I was really close to just cutting this whole game out of the video and starting the whole video over. But I figured, screw it. Let's at least see what this thing can do. Well, alright, here we are in game, and honest to God, this is like the stupidest thing ever. I shouldn't even be doing this, because for whatever reason, this game has locked my resolutions. Whatever it defaults to, that's your resolution forever, apparently. So for this computer, I'm forever stuck at 1080p. And on my secondary computer, I figured, oh, okay, well, if it's stuck at 1080p, even though it's a little silly, let's just go put the secondary computer at 1080p and run the benchmark and do everything over. You know, it'd be annoying, but hey, at least it'd be apples to apples-ish. But nope, that one's stuck at 3440 by 1440. Every time I run the benchmark, no matter what I make the resolution, it does not work. And it's always the same 161 average to 158. So, you know, within the realm of error. So, again, do not pay attention to the massive, huge gain in FPS in this game. I'm mostly just seeing how smooth it is compared to the other one at this point. It's not even an FPS test. And like I was saying, I was really... Damn gas. I got shocked.
The diffuser has been secured.
Well, that was lame.
Diffuser is online. Op 4 eliminated.
What was really annoying is I saw the guy and I was going to shoot him, but then I got blown up. So here's the settings we're going to run for Horizon Zero Dawn. We're going to do 3440 by 1440 since this is the resolution I use on this thing all the time. So it's not like we're doing 4K versus 4K or anything like that, but we're just doing it with their native resolutions, and we're just maxing these games out for the most part. We're just not turning ray tracing on in games that have that, just to make the Nvidia card look better, you know? But anyway, now let's go run a bench. Well, benchmark's all done. We averaged 179, we got a max of 373 and a minimum of 96, which gives us 3230. And there's our CPU and GPU scores for all that other stuff, our game version, and our system specs. And then on the left over there, you've got your GPU and CPU frame time graphs. So, with that, let's get into the game. Well, alright, here we are in Horizon Zero Dawn. I really need to go upgrade my weapons more. So I'm going to try to avoid stuff in this area. Oh, what's that? Ah, a dead watcher I already killed. Cool. Those guys are at least easy. But some of these other things are just terrible. Like, I can't really, like, do almost any damage to them at all. Oh, there was some stutter. But I've also seen that tiny little stutter on my main computer, which is where I've been playing this game. So, that rarely happens. This is mostly a smooth experience for this game.
Scrabbling a bit.
Yeah, see, I'll just show you guys. I do like no damage to these guys. I'm just gonna shoot this deer, moose, antelope now. I'd say it's probably supposed to be like a longhorn or something like that, if anything. But yeah, I'm just gonna shoot him in the butt. See? Do like 1 damage to the bastard. Do like
They're
nothing.
scanning for me.
Now, obviously, I could hit him in his weak spots, but even if I did that, I wouldn't be able to beat him. So I'm just gonna hide here and hope he doesn't come and stomp me to death. That wouldn't make for a good video. Although I guess me sitting here in this one spot the whole time isn't great either. Come on, get bored and go away already. I could use my explosive arrows, but I feel like that would draw all the rest of the things in this neighborhood right over to me. And then I'd be like, well, shit. Alright, I'm just gonna, like, sneak down here. He'll probably see me for, like, a split second. And now I'm gonna go down here, and hopefully he'll just ignore me. We're gonna give me some more stuff so I can make more ammo. Not like I really need it. I think we're pretty good. But it'll help for upgrading and stuff like that to have a bunch of this stuff, so why the hell not? Huh, can't get up there. Keep forgetting this is not Assassin's Creed. You can't just jump and grab hold of any ledge you want, whenever you want. It just doesn't work that way. They're still kind of looking for me over there. Or whatever. You guys can keep ahead and do that. Anyway, let's go ahead and move on. Alright. Here's the settings we're going to run. Sorry about that recording has started thing. That generally doesn't show up when you're in full screen. I have to be wary of it when I'm in windowed mode, but didn't think I had to worry about it. So, I do apologize for that. But in any case, those are the settings we're going to run on the main computer here. Try to keep them as close as possible to the secondary computer other than resolution. But now, let's go run the bench, see how it does. Alright, so we got an average of 149, maximum of 272, and a minimum of 75. So I think it did actually beat out my AMD PC in minimums. I can't remember. But still, it's so damn close. But now, let's go hop in and see how it actually does in the game itself. Well, now, here we go on the main computer in Horizon Zero Dawn. So let's just run around a little bit, see what kind of frames we get, see how smooth it is. Now, this game generally will have a tiny little stutter just every once in a blue moon on both systems. I don't know if it'll do it on the Intel system here, but it's the one I play this on all the time, and every once in a blue moon, there'll be just a hair little stutter. But for the most part, this game is pretty buttery smooth. It's pretty awesome. On both computers. But for now, we'll just run around just for a little bit. I need to upgrade my shit so I can't, like, kill anything around in this area. But that's okay. But yeah, most of the time I don't fight stuff in these games anyway, because I get in my own head, because I'm like, oh crap, I'm making a video, oh man, if I do bad, people are going to make fun of me. And then all the acts of thinking like that makes me do bad. So it's best to just avoid the whole situation. Just run around, get a little footage. If something happens to attack me and there's no way to get out of it, I'm not going to just run away and just die while running. But I just feel like running just around, collecting, foraging. Oh, there's another watcher I destroyed earlier. Those guys are pretty easy. I haven't had trouble with them. Like, just hide in the grass, shoot them in their fucking eyeball, and the rest's history, you know? Oh yeah, that's right. You can't jump in Assassin's Creed, just like in Assassin's Creed. It's not an Assassin's Creed game, even though it sometimes feels like one. Like they took that and added some stuff to it, you know? Obviously, the story and all that stuff is immensely different, but they just pick and took a little things. But it's kind of hard not to when games have been around as long as they have. Everybody's going to kind of take a little bit from one another. But yeah, this is obviously one of those games that kind of uses up some E-cores, that's for sure. In any case, though, why don't we go ahead and move along? All right, here's the settings we're going to run. So we're going to do full screen, just going to do our native resolution, turn VSync off, normal resolution or render scale, ultra graphics. Since most people that have this should be able to play a game like this. We don't want depth of field on. I don't want that on, though. Sometimes this game restarts, it resets my settings, and it ticks me off. Because I had all that turned off, and now I gotta turn it back off again. And then, we don't have any upsale. We're just gonna use TAA. I wish I could use SMAA and whatnot, but hey. Let's now run a bench. Alright. We got an average of 142. We dropped to 60 for a minimum, and we maxed out at 239. And then our 1% lows there, 98 and 65. And then our bar graph, we definitely had some pretty interesting frame times for sure. But in any case, now let's go see how this translates to actual real-world gameplay. All right, here we are in the game. So let's just run around a little bit and just play like we would normally. We'll just run around a little bit. And if any guards notice me, I'll just have to fight them and kill them. Because I think my, I guess this game is a warning level. What do they call it? God, it's something fancy. It started with an N, and now it's escaping me. Well, whatever. Anyone who plays the game will know what the hell I'm talking about. But all I know, to get rid of it, you go around and rip little wanted posters off the walls. Although it seems like every time I do that, like a cop witnesses me in the act and is like, hey, screw you, you're that guy, aren't you? Let's kill him. And then I either have to run or kick some ass. And usually I'm pretty good at these games. I'll just counter everything they do. But I don't remember how to counter, so that will be a problem. But yeah, as you can see in the actual game, if we look at that frame time graph, we're not really getting huge, giant drops. There's tiny, itty-bitty little drops. But with FreeSync and all that, you're never going to notice those, especially without a frame rate counter. From my perspective, just playing this is smooth as butter.
I know you don't get angry often, but...
Criminal dog! You'll get your due! Guard! Guard!
Somebody's yelling for the guards. Try for me.
Got your ear. Keep an eye on them.
Screw it, let's go down here. quite the epic dive. And hey, look, in this game, you actually get wet when you go in the water, unlike that pirate game. But anyway, why don't we go ahead and go move along? Here are the settings we are going to run on the main computer now. We're going to try to keep it close with the graphic settings, but obviously the screen settings would be different because they're different resolutions. But we are at 100% render scale and all that good stuff. And we're on Ultra preset. I just turned a couple things off, just like I did. And I turned the same things off on the secondary all AMD computer, like depth of field, motion blur, adaptive quality, all that stuff. So now, why don't we go ahead and go run a quick benchmark and see how this one handles this game. So here we go. We got an average of 129, same minimum as the secondary computer, a max of 200. But I think our 1% lows and all that are much better. 101 to 81. I think the other one was a little lower than that. I'd have to go back and look at it. There's our frame times, how much gigabytes of memory we're using, game settings, and then you can see this graph up here still has some dips, but not quite nearly as many as the AMD computer did. But as you saw, that didn't really translate into a super stuttery laggy game. It was actually like buttery smooth. So let's see how this one does. All right, let's get ourselves a little bit of some gameplay here. Start at the exact same spot actually as the AMD PC. That's cool. Oh, nope, I won't go back up there. Now, I can't really remember where I went precisely here, but we're just going to run around town a little bit, just like we did on the secondary computer, and just see if it stays smooth. Because it was actually very smooth when we were playing on the secondary computer, even though the benchmark would have told us, no, it's going to be a stuttery mess. So this one will probably be more of the same. I don't really remember this game really being big stutters anywhere. Like, if there was one, it was like a quick one here every like 30, 40 minutes. Maybe as I'm like running through the desert or something. But generally in town, running around, just doing what you do, totally like butter smooth on both computers. And you can just take a look at the frame graphs on both of them. They're both pretty damn similar. They're both like almost a solid line. There's tiny itty bitty little differences, but of course there's going to be, because the frame rate's differing or changing. Anytime the frame rate changes, your frame time is going to change too. It's just as long as it's small little increments, no one's going to really notice. Now, if we were dropping all the way down to 60 FPS every now and again, we would notice and we would see a giant frame time spike. And that's why I was actually kind of happy with this game. This game played more like an Assassin's Creed game again. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Vikings and all that stuff. I've got a bunch of Viking blood in me, in fact, but I don't know. Valhalla just seemed too big. They tried to do too much. It was still fun, don't get me wrong. I had fun with it. I beat it. It was a fun game. But I just think I had a little bit more fun with this one. That's just me. I'm sure I'm probably a minority in that. Most people probably liked Valhalla more than this one, but that's just me. Just being honest. All I can be is honest. I mean, I guess I could lie, but then people would call me out on my bullshit all the time, and then I'd feel embarrassed, and rightfully so. Oh, see? Just like I was saying on the AMD computer. I rip one of those bastards down, they all see me do it, and then they come after my ass. Damn it, I did not go up in a good spot there. Come on. Come after me. All right, no, I think I got away. Oh, but there's a guy there, so nope, he's going to see me. You got yourself a bow and arrow, do you? Alright, how do I attack? It was that. Shit. Oh, you're gonna counter me? Well, I'm just gonna wait for you to attack like that and get you. See, there we go. What button did I hit to do that?
I will not fail.
Oh, that was pretty brutal. That guy's dead as shit. Oh, nope, I don't want that. It's been a while since I played like half these games, so I don't remember what the hell I'm doing in any of them. I just wanted to see how they ran, you know? But anyway, let's now move on. So here's the settings for Cyberpunk we're going to go with. Same 44 or 1440p, ultra wide. And we're not using obviously DLSS because we can't, and frame gen because we can't. We're just keeping this native res, just playing it basically on its ultra preset. I just turned a couple things off. There we go. Those are all the settings we're running. So let's go run a benchmark and see how it does. All right, so this guy got 111 average, minimum of 93. So we stay over 60, and we got a max of 138. Here's all the system specs and the settings we used. As you can see, no resolution scale, no ray tracing, none of that. We're just doing this native. Now, if we went and did the ray tracing, obviously the Nvidia card would pull ahead. But anyway, let's move on. Well, all right, here we are in Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, let's turn this on, otherwise it makes the video kind of pointless. I mean, the video already doesn't have a super big point. I just kind of want to see how the two top-of-line computers did against one another, you know?
Can a heart explode out of love? The cockpit music of corporate wars is back.
And how smooth they were. This plays pretty well. Every once in a blue moon there'll be like a little stutter, but that happens on the other computer too. But as you'll see with the 4090 PC, since you gotta do 4K on it, and since I'm doing this native res and all that, even without ray tracing, it still has an issue hitting an average of 60. I was actually kind of surprised, but then I remembered it had all these updates and all that, so it must have gotten harder to run, because I swear I used to be able to barely average, like, I want to say like 66 to 68 or something FPS when I first got my 4090. So even without the path tracing and all that, they must have just muddled about and just made the graphics that much better. But still, this game is very smooth. I like it. Does push my CPU a teensy bit though, but that's cool. I like seeing games that use your CPU equally like that. You know, a lot of games will be like, hey, I'm just going to put like 100% of the load on this one core, make it stutter like crazy, and then we'll give the rest of the cores like 5-10% on the other two. And then the rest of your cores can just sit there and diddle their thumbs. And it's like, well, what the hell, man? Now that would make sense if it had like the big little system like that Intel pretty much adopted from the cell phones, where you got like, your P cores and your E cores. Now that one I'd expect the E cores to mostly be sitting there doing nothing besides background Windows tasks and leaving the game to the P cores, but a lot of games don't do that. They just use all of them, and then sometimes you'll even get stutter because of the E cores. But since it's going into the BIOS every time to turn them off, I just leave them on all the time. If it was as easy as toggling them off in like some GUI menu somewhere, that'd be one thing. I'd totally do that. Just use P cores in the games that are better, and when I need to edit a video or something, turn the freaking E cores back on. Or use my GPU, one of the two. Sometimes I do one, or sometimes I do the other. Oh, there are gunshots going on. Where are those coming from? Sounds like over there somewhere. Let's go over here in case they start shooting this way. I can at least hide behind some pillars. Oh, here it is. But anyway, it's time to move on anyway. Alright, so we're gonna run this at 4K, native res, all that stuff. We're not gonna use DLSS or anything like that. Or frame gen. I don't know how that got turned back on, off with you. No resolution scaling, same. I just did the same ultra settings and then went down and turned off stuff I don't like film grain, depth of field, motion blur, stuff like that. But other than that, I tried to keep it just stock ultra settings. Other than it also wanted to use FSR or DLSS. Technically no FSR. And I was like, no, we want to do native. So let's go run a bench now. See how it... Alright, so we got 70 average, minimum of 55.65, and a max of 91. So here's our system specs right there. We didn't have any ray tracing or any of that enabled. No render resolution scaling or anything like that. So now, let's run around in the actual game and see what that's like. Alright, let's get ourselves a little gameplay here. And as you can see, we're already dropping under 60. But that's just what happens when you try to run this game native now. I guess all the updates made it a little harder to run, because I swear it used to barely average over 60, like actually in game, not just in the benchmark. Like we would really get like 60 to 70 most of the time. And then every once in a while it would drop down to like 55, 54 like this. But now it seems, at least in this area, it just seems to hang out at that kind of frames. Wow, we even dropped down to 49. So the 4090 needs a little help, even without ray tracing from some DLSS to even play this game at playable frame rates at 4K. Jeez. It's kind of annoying. But at the same time, games progress. pretty soon the 590 will be out, and I'll grab that. And then probably sell my 4090 to one of my friends for on the cheap just so they can have a badass GPU too. Although, funny enough, my friend was looking for a computer, and I was gonna basically sell him my 4090 that I don't use anymore, my MSI Gaming Trio version, and then also let him have my old 5800X 3D computer on the cheap. Like, basically let him have the whole thing for like, $1,600, about the price of a used 4090. Basically get a whole PC for the price. I think that's more than fair. Basically give him a friend's price. But then I went to show him, hey, here's how it runs stuff. I put the 4090 in it and we got no picture out. And I was like, well, shit, did the 4090 just break sitting there? Because it used to work. The problem where I didn't end up using it anymore wasn't because it was broken. It was some other stupid, idiotic thing. Like a cable, or I think it ended up being the damn riser cable or something like that. But obviously, if we put the 7900 XTX computer on 4K, we'd probably only be getting like 40s right now and dropping into the 30s. I bet. And obviously, if we turned ray tracing on either one of them, we would be struggling to hit 30 without help from either FSR or DLSS and FrameGen if you're on Nvidia. But that's where this one will run away. That's why I didn't even bother with that. That's not even fair. I figured run them at their native resolutions. Don't do ray tracing. We all know Nvidia wins when it comes to ray tracing. And Nvidia still wins when it comes to DLSS and FrameGen. But at least there's options for some of that on the AMD side now. Just not really ray tracing yet, but they're getting there. Anyway, though, let's move on. Well, alright guys, that's a wrap for this video. I know the beginning, first game kind of sucked. That kind of pissed me off too. I don't know what was up that game's butt, but still, I left it in just to test the smoothness between the two, to see if any had giant stutters between each other. But if I ever do this again, I will make sure to actually test the games first and make sure that they can actually change resolution. I just didn't think that was going to be an issue, so I didn't think to do it beforehand. Now I've learned. Next time, you're going to pick out all your games, make sure all the games work properly. Duly noted. But still, I think after that first game that I did, the rest of the video was pretty cool and showed the differences between the two. Now, obviously, if we put the 7900 XTX at 4K like the other one's doing, it would look, nowhere near as good. Most games would still be totally playable at 4K. I just figured it was better suited to ultra-wide, 1440. So that's what I did. And then I figured the 4090 is an absolute 4K card. Or of course you could use it for high refresh rate, 1440 and ultra-wide too, but its main use is 4K, which is what I use it for. But as you saw in Cyberpunk, without DLSS, we still can't quite hit 60, even with native, no ray tracing, no nothing. Just the game at 4K with all these updates that came out and whatnot. So that's pretty funny. $1,600 GPU that can't even play the game without help. But let's not go too fast. Had we put this thing into this AMD computer to 4K, I guarantee you it would have probably been getting like 40 FPS or something like that most of the time. But that's exactly why I made it do the resolution that it was meant to do. I kind of was surprised. I figured the 4090 would at least stay over 60 the whole time. I was actually a little surprised, but then I remembered all those updates came out, so it is what it is. So if anybody likes this video, I can honestly do another one where we do all the resolutions from 1080p, 1440p, and 4K, to keep it a little bit more fair. But I'm never gonna sit here and change the 4090 into this computer and put that one in the other computer. I don't like doing that. Anytime I mess with the computers, they love to just say, nope, guess what? Fuck you, I'm not gonna work properly anymore. Even though all you did was take the GPU out and put it back in, I don't care. So, since I get screwed over in those situations, that's why I don't like doing that. And besides, I'm not one of those YouTubers that's got all the different tech to properly, scientifically do all this data. There's plenty of guys who already would own me even if I started, like hardware, there's like a bunch of them. Even Linus is doing better now. He's more entertainment still, but he's getting better. And then Hardware Unboxed does usually a pretty good job. And then, Gamers Nexus is probably one of the best for sitting there and doing all the freaking tests, I would say. So if you want to go and know how things run, I would say they are definitely the people to go to. But in any case, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was just kind of a little idea I had because somebody asked me which computer was smoother, and I couldn't really tell them. They both seemed pretty damn equal to me. So I figured, why don't we try and test it and have some benchmarks tell the whole story. It seems like sometimes the one had better minimums when you know, compare the two retrospective resolutions to each other. I kind of sit there in my head and go, okay, well, this one's a lower resolution. So, all right, that one's getting 50 versus that one getting 46 or something, or 41. You know, if we sat there and made those the same, the one would obviously be beating the other. That's kind of how I figured that out in my head. But still, I think this is a pretty good video. Obviously, it could be better if like I said, I sat there and took the 4090 and took it and did it 1-to-1, but I don't want to mess with that. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I feel like anytime I open that glass on that thing, it's just gonna go, hey, you know what? I don't really feel like going see-through anymore. So yeah, you're just gonna have to deal with it. But in any case, that is all I got for you guys for this video. Outro's kind of long, but I wanted to explain the whole ordeal and talk a little bit instead of just going, all right, well, that's it. All right, bye. So figured there's a little bit of explaining to do when we got to the end. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys for this particular video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, because I sure as hell enjoyed making it for you guys. And until the next video, peace out, guys.